Who's calling in? Clap it up for Sarah. Clap it up for Daisy. Clap it up more. Like if I could, I would stand up and I would give Rabbit a standing fucking ovation. Are you calling in to call in? All right. Someone that needs no introduction. She has a great YouTube channel, and I feel like she is very similar to me, where uh, she just kind of is like real and talks about real stuff. The one, the only, Mrs. Shorty.
Well, hi. I think you'll find it's Mr. Helen these days, but okay, fine.
Mrs. Helen. Mrs. Helen. You got some,
Hi.
but there we go. I got you. I got you. We're good. There's a little buzz
Hi.
going on, but I fixed it.
Oh, sorry.
What is up, my dear?
Well, I was just thinking when you were talking about with my friend and your new friend Sarah, because I love Sarah, but you were talking about van life, and you said,
Yeah.
and then I just remembered that maybe at the time I was technically homeless. However, I have an amazing van life-esque story.
Bring it.
Bring it? Okay.
This is The Rock. The Rock says, bring it.
Oh, I thought you were Adam, but okay.
No, you don't follow wrestling.
I know who The Rock is. Come on now, I don't live under a rock.
That was one of his things.
Oh, with the hands? I didn't watch it.
Yeah, no, that was like he was like, bring it. That was his thing. Yeah, sorry. Okay, sorry.
What I like to say, come at me, bro, but that's more of an Australian thing. So, anyway, same as bring it. Anyway, so I found myself in a position where once again I was living in my car, and actually, once again with no real place to go, and I was in Melbourne at the time. Was I? Yes. No, actually, anyway, yeah, let's just call it Melbourne. I wasn't. I was in a place called Bordertown, which I like to call Border Dump. Anyway, I had to flee there with literally only an hour to pack up my 2 dogs and my 2 cats in the car and leave due to not a intimate partner relationship, but a domestic violence situation with the person I was house sharing with. So I left, and I found myself at that point then having fled with everything I could pack in my car for only an hour, with only an hour to go, with nowhere to go, and like nowhere to go. I was just, I'm a gypsy. Like, you're a land pirate, I'm a gypsy. So
I think it's a pretty cool combination.
It is. It sounds like it's it's just, it is. So
I can't help it. I can't help it. I'm sorry. It's just so funny. It's so funny.
Let me tell my story, sir. And so anyway, so I'm in a place called Mount Gambier, and there was one of my, like, trigger warning. It was one of my, probably my most dire, like, immediate crisis points in my life where, like, I was on a hair trigger. I was on like a Mission Impossible kind of level.
Eyes were wide open, I'm sure, like all the time.
And I know, like, I literally, the prospects were so horrifically dire, and my mental health and just the crisis of it all meant that I was just on the absolute precipice of literally driving my my car, which isn't a van. I don't have it anymore. But anyway, let me digress. Let me just
please, no, keep going. No, please.
When I was proper homeless, so this is after I'd had a place to live for a period of 18 months, a couple of places, but I actually had a legitimate home of, a residence, whether it be in someone else's home or my own home. But prior to that, when I was proper homeless, I lived in I don't think you have them, but it's similar to a Ford Edge, I think, to be honest, Karen Reid, if you know. But it's called a Ford Territory in Australia. And I had lived in my car, and I had decked it out to the best of my abilities with, like, curtaining around the edge, around the windows, using cup hooks sort of screwed into the the molding of the underside of the ceiling of the car, roof of the car, and put, like, black plastic garbage bags over every night as curtains. Anyway, so I had this sort of set up. So I was in no man's land, like literally, and and also sort of theoretically. So I had nowhere to go, and a friend who lived. So I was in, let's just call it Melbourne. It wasn't quite, but I was on the almost the far east side of Australia, and I had no prospects. And a friend who lived in Perth, which I'm not sure if your folks are familiar, but Perth is over the far west. It's like it's like saying I was in like maybe North Carolina compared to what's West Coast? Not Los Angeles.
Oregon, where I'm
Oregon.
at.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Oregon.
yeah.
Yes. A similar distance in terms
Sure,
of geographically, like Australia and
You're on the
UK.
east. You're on the east. They're on the
Yes.
west.
Yes, and Australia is a similar, very similar landmass size to North
Well,
America.
where's Sydney? Same side as Melbourne.
No, well, see, Melbourne's like
Melbourne?
down the bottom. So if you're
Melbourne?
looking at a map of Australia, and it's like
So
whatever
you're
that
like
shape is.
Florida?
Yeah, I was like in Florida. Yes.
Okay,
no,
it's like Florida.
I was more like North Carolina, South Carolina.
Okay, so not like tippy, not like the tippy bottom of the South.
No,
Like,
correct. And Sydney
okay.
is like Rhode Island. No, maybe further south. What's more further south than Rhode Island?
Maybe
But,
like Virginia.
yes. So Sydney's over there, and then Perth is all the way over on the other side of where Oregon is. So same mileage. And I had a friend who lived in Perth, and she's like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, shit, I don't know, in my car with nowhere to go, probably about to literally drive my car with my 4 pets off a cliff." And she said, "Probably, maybe don't do that. Why don't you come to Perth?" And I'm like, "Well, fuck yes, I am a gypsy, and why not? What else? It's either that or heaven, I presume. Hopefully heaven, not hell.
Yeah.
So let's go somewhere." So I raised a little bit of money on GoFundMe because all of my friends on Facebook are like, "Well, fuck this poor bitch. She just cannot catch a break. Let's give her a bit of money so she can get to Perth and start a new life again." So anyway, and maybe while I don't know if you have the capacity to do this, but can you screen share on your screen and pull up, can you Google something for me? Because it's there'll be some pretty cool images, like, because this is the whole point of my story. There is a point.
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Can you Google Nullarbor Plain, N for Nelly, NULLABO something, OOR Plain, PLAIN, and look some images there. So anyway,
Spell the first
N for never ever ever, N.
Right. I got NULLA.
B for Bob.
B.
Yep. I don't know. I think it's OUR, but maybe it's OOR. Plain. PLAIN. Australia.
Nullarbor. I think that's it. Oh, is this the road?
Okay. So yes. So don't pull it up yet. But anyway. So I set about with my 2 dogs. They were only 5-month-old puppy, Belgian Malinois cross.
Why can't I make this full screen?
I don't know, man. You do you. I'll tell the story. You get that shit sorted.
Yeah. You here. Do you want to come on camera?
No, because I am wearing my dressing gown and I have a sunburnt face. No, I'll just be a talking dog. Okay. No, I'm not going on camera, but I can be main screen. Anyway.
Yeah, please take it. Yeah, go.
I jump in. I'm in my car already because life. And yeah, I'm a pro. I'm a proper YouTuber. Okay, like I'm a known YouTuber.
I know you are.
I have a contact at Boston NBC 10. Don't even start me with my clout chasing.
Toot it. No. Toot your shit. Go for it.
Okay.
This is your show right now. Your show right now. I'm busy.
Take it. Yes. Good, Mr. Shorty. So I get in my car, which I already was in because I had nowhere else to go. And we started driving west, and it's miles. I don't know miles. You Americans, why don't you go with the rest of the world and go with kilometers? It was a 4,500 kilometer trip, which calculations, I think there's 2.75 kilometers ish in a mile. So whatever that is, maths, not my strong point. So I get in the car and I start driving, right? And so it's, Australia's a beautiful country, and there were, all sorts of different terrain, and it was just sort of freeway driving for a while, and it was kind of exciting because I thought. Obviously, spoiler alert, I don't live in Perth. I live in Melbourne. So clearly that it didn't happen. It happened. Anyway, I digress. So I'm driving across, and I was just looking at this mileage going, wow, this is a long way. However, there's a place called Iron. I think it's honestly called Iron Head, but maybe it's Iron Knob. No, it's Iron Knob. I remember because I'm like 12, and it was hilarious to me. It's this big outcrop of iron ore coming out of the ground, and so the terrain was getting more and more like outbacky. But it was still kind of like just this. A lot of Australia is actually not that beautiful, and it's just kind of scrubby, mallee scrub. It's called, like, not very interesting because we have a very arid climate in most of Australia. So I'm driving, but I love a road trip. Who doesn't? Road trips are life, and so I'm driving along, and then you come around this bend, and then it just bottoms out and flattens out to this absolute expansive flat for the whole horizon. And Australia has a massive, an expansive horizon. I guess like anywhere, like Utah or I don't know, places where there's no suburbia and no urban anything. And it was just thousands, hundreds and hundreds of miles, kilometers, same, not the same, but of just this most incredible, just it was amazing. And so I'm driving it at night because I didn't have anything but for the car. I didn't even have any like bedding really. I don't think. I can't recall. Trauma. But I had my two dogs, Maggie and Miriam, and I had my two cats, Peter and Tim. And all of the above were just the most delightful creatures. Maggie and Miriam got to go for their first time ever in water at the beach, and they were just so joyous. I've got some beautiful video of that. I filmed everything. And we just drove and drove and drove. There's a stretch of road in Australia, which is the longest stretch of road without a single bend. It's just dead straight, dead ass straight. It's 149 kilometres. So again, maths. Shall we call it, I don't know, here's how I'm going to make myself look stupid. Let's call it 50 miles? No, 60 miles? Anyway, not a single, nothing, not a kink, not a bend.
Oh,
not a
wow,
turn.
really?
Amazing. It's the longest stretch of straight road in Australia. Drove and drove and drove. And at night, there was this one, we got to this one spot. So there's a lot of wildlife in Australia. Obviously, I saw wombats. I saw emus. I've seen them in like zoos and animal petting farms and stuff, but I'd never seen those things in the wild. And I saw these amazing, majestic, prehistoric creatures. Oh, but they weren't dinosaurs. They were just those animals. And it was just the most incredible thing. And I got, anyway, this one spot I can't remember where it was. It doesn't matter. Middle of nowhere. Let's call it 2,000 miles into my journey, or kilometers. And we got out of the car to, like, obviously with all those animals, we had to stop relatively often for toilet breaks and stuff. And you have never seen or been in a more quiet place. There was not even animals, no crickets, no insects, no, just absolute, like a vacuum, silent, amazing. It was staggering. There was no echo. There was nothing for any echoes to bounce off. Yeah, it was just amazing. And
are you seeing the pictures I pulled up?
Yes, that amazing. Sorry, I'm too caught up.
It is incredible.
It's amazing, and at night, like, obviously, I guess because you with your van life would we occasionally or often away from urban lights, but the stars in the outback are just, it was so special, Adam. So anyway, I got all the way to Perth. Turns out, not the best idea. The chick that I was going to live with wasn't actually living in the house that I was living. It was just her ex. And, people are generally exes for a reason. Her ex and his daughter. And it was a massive house, massive, like a big mansion. And I can't remember how much the rent was. A lot. And it was an empty house. No one had any furniture, me included, because I just had my animals. I won't tell you the sad part of the story, but by the time I got there, I only had one animal after a week on the road. So that was pretty devastating. There's a whole lot. I won't go trauma town, but I got there and it turned out to be that the it wasn't all it cracked up to be, which is pretty. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have been surprised because Lisa, Shorty's life, that's how it's gone. And in fact, the ex boyfriend was actually an absolute like junkie, both smoking meth and heroin. I think smoking heroin, but either way, that's a lot. That's a lot of drugs when I'm out there raw dogging, trying to be like sober and productive in life. And I didn't have any access to it either. So there was a fair bit of FOMO. So anyway, so it was about 4 or 5 weeks, and it just wasn't great. But I was there now, like I was on the other side of the country with no money left, but it all came to a head where this guy, because he was a fraudster and he was he had stolen at some point in, say, the last 12 months a big pile of, and I'm sure you guys don't have the same system, but in our public health system, or I guess script to script. So a doctor writes a script, on a piece of paper,
Sure.
and then you take it to the pharmacy. So he'd stolen a bunch of blank scripts from a GP's desk and was writing out scripts and selling them to people for, like, I guess, opioids and things, all sorts of pharmaceuticals, and was selling those to people. So he was criminal activity, fraud. And we got raided this one time, and I was like, okay, that's it, I'm out. I'm out. And so then I had to flee again. So at this point, I was on the other side of the country with no money, with like literally my hopes and dreams shattered. Only one of my 4 pets, when I first embarked sort of 2 weeks prior to that, left with me due to tragic just life circumstances. And I was like, I think I might have gotten COVID then. So I was in my car with COVID. I never got tested, but I was sick.
So
man.
this was all within the last 4 years.
Oh, this was in 2020. 2 time, I don't know, a trauma. 2022, 2021. The end of, I think, wait, what's the year now? Where am I? I've been back working and stuff for almost 2 years, so that's 2022. Yeah. So yeah, no, 2022, like 2 years ago, 2 and a bit years ago. It was in September. It was literally this time 2 years ago. They've been coming up on my Facebook memories. Thanks, Facebook.
Oh, dude, I hate that.
Yeah,
shit.
they're not real helpful, those things. Anyway,
No.
so I'm in my car and I'm sick and I'm stranded with no money left. And like, what the fuck am I doing in Perth now? Like, I wish it had worked out, because Perth is amazing. Anyway, there's a positive. This isn't supposed to be a downer. Don't be getting sad.
No,
so anyway,
I know a hero's journey when I hear one.
Yeah. So anyway,
I know a hero's journey when I hear one.
So yeah, well, I am a hero. Not all heroes wear capes, Mr. Shorty. Some of us are right now wearing a pink dressing gown and pink Nike slides. So like, suck it. So I get like I'm there like just wallowing in. So I'm wallowing in my probably COVID addled, no more pets left. What the fuck? You literally cannot make this shit up. Why is my life like this? Am I in the Matrix? Am I actually a simulation? What?
Right.
And
yeah.
So another friend, and like again, needless to say, that friendship no longer exists. So the friends in my life have mostly been transient. But again, this is not supposed to be a downer. This is an uplifting story. Let me get to the punchline. So I'm stuck over there with everybody gone, with my hopes and dreams dashed, like with no money, and what? So then this girlfriend says to me, Lisa, what are you doing? Literally, I'll never forget it. The message she sent me on whatever platform it was like, in all caps, sidebar, I'm a massive fan of all caps. It's not yelling. It's just enthusiastic, and I'm here for it. Anyway, so I'm there, and she's like, Lisa, with a clapping emoji. And then what? Clap. Clap. You, clap. Doing. I'm like, yeah, actually, that's probably too hard a question. She's like, come back over to this side of the country. I'm like, well, sure. I mean, let's do another 24-hour straight drive with stops. So anyway, so I finally got less sick and decided to, sure, why not? And I think she might have sent me some money because I had no money.
How long were you in Perth?
Like a month, 4 weeks.
Okay.
So I decided, okay, fine. Like, I'm disappointed because Perth is beautiful and I really like the idea of a really, not just a fresh new start, like metaphorically, but geographically and everything, because like I have lived in, that would have been my fourth state that I've lived
Yep.
in Australia. There's only like 6. Um,
Yep.
so anyway, so I get to decide, okay, fine. So I start driving back. And as I was driving back across the Nullarbor, it dawned on me that regardless of everything, like honestly, this thought struck me, and it was palpable. I still have a visceral response to the moment. And I remember still exactly the moment where I was on that road that you've got those images there of, where I suddenly thought, like, fucking wow. I am so blessed. Like, I am so blessed. I'm getting all chills and getting teary now, but like, nobody else I know in my life would ever have this opportunity. Like, I was so blessed to be driving across the country, to be
Yeah.
seeing and experiencing what I would never have experienced otherwise. Likely, most
Yeah.
people just live in their lanes. They go to
Yeah.
work, they do their things, and so this is my van life. Like, I'm van life adjacent, not quite, but still. Like, it was such it honestly, I had this moment, this epiphany. It was, and then it occurred to me that everything, that all of it, all of the loss, all of the trauma, all of the disappointment, all tied up in a bow, was a fucking pilgrimage. And I was the luckiest luckily I was the luckiest, most blessed person on the planet right there.
Mm.
And like, it changed my life. That whole trip, it changed my life. And and honestly, and there was still more. Like, hectic. You cannot make this shit up. And still a lot of disappointment, and like, not betrayal by people, but people sort of still turning their back on me when they sort of pledged to not do that. But basically, since that moment, which was one of some of the, like, that sort of 4 to 6 week period was, and I've had some lows, but they were probably some of technically the lowest periods in my life. But at the same time, I had this moment where I was like, I wouldn't change a thing. I feel
Yeah.
so blessed. I
Yeah.
felt like, I'm not like a religious person necessarily, but I'm spiritual, and I believe in the universe and higher powers and a God, but not organized religion gods, I guess. And it was the
Keep
beginning
going.
of my forever upward journey back to where I am now. So what, 2 and a bit years, basically 2 years on the nose, to go from literally, like, screaming and melting down for so long, and in such a state of crisis, that I was in a mountainous terrain area where I was literally moments away. I wasn't, like, from driving my car with everybody off one of those cliffs because I could not see a way out, to being like, it's been work, but here I am now. And I'll never forget that pilgrimage, which was all part of that traveling with the open road and the big blue skies and the things you don't see when you're in your box in your home, going to work, doing the drudgery, doing the peasant work shit. Like, honestly, if anyone can ever get a chance to get out on the road and just, like, leave it all behind, it's amazing. It doesn't matter what else is going on in your life, you'll have those moments. It's pretty cool. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, Adam.
Oh no, this was a great. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't
I'm
leave.
not leaving.
Let me get this. One. How can you not feel a little something special when this is what you get to see on those journeys?
Oh my God!
You know what I mean? Look at these. Look at where, like, holy shit, man. Like,
I didn't actually realize when because where you just were showing before, that big picture on the right, just the last shot you showed, you that I didn't actually realize, because the way the road goes, the lie of the land, and I wasn't looking at maps, so I was just following the road, which is
right.
one road for however many. I didn't realize how close I was to the ocean, and I
Well,
came
yeah,
around
because you have
then.
to come out on like some off-road trails almost to get there, but you could,
Well,
I mean,
the highway itself, hugs the coast, and it cuts towards the coast as the Great Australian Bight, is what it's called on the Australian map. That big undercut thing on the bottom. So I was driving from sort of Central Victoria, which is inland.
Oh, right. This is it right here.
Yeah. So that's the road I was traveling. So suddenly I came around a bend and I got a glimpse of the ocean. And I'm Cancer. My star sign is Cancer. I lived my whole life up until I was 36 in a beachside town city called Newcastle, just about 2 hours north of Sydney. And so water really speaks to me. And obviously for most people, catching a glimpse of the ocean is quite a, it's a majestic sight. It's a majestic thing. So to come around with everything that I was escaping this crisis moment, this crisis few days where I was just beside myself in here I am again, homeless, to suddenly coming around the bend on a road on a highway, like kind of leaving all that behind, to the road opening out, and to me being on these like 100 meters tops, yards, whatever. You idiots, get with metric. Anyway, sorry, sidebar. To suddenly seeing the ocean and not even realizing that I was that close to the ocean, and just pulling over and getting out, and it was gale force winds. Those cliffs are so high and it was so windy, and I just got out and the dogs got out, and probably the cats too, crazy cats. And I just walked, and it was just like a literal breath of fresh air blowing all that crisis, all that like sort of nightmare point out of my brain, and like suddenly feeling like alive after like a long time of being kind of clogged in the fog of trauma and discontent.
Here's
That's almost exactly. It's wild. Yes.
Here's what I'm gonna pull up my version, and I'm gonna show you guys why I spend, like, if I could, I would just, where I'm at right now, I would only stay, if I could, I would just stay within this like 100-mile stretch of the Oregon coast, and I'm gonna show you guys why. So if you've never seen this is why I stay here all the time, because it just never stops.
So we don't have those big tall forests, those old growth forests that you have.
Well, these are little mini forests out on rocks in the ocean.
Oh, really? Yeah, like Twilight, yeah?
Yeah, so this is Oregon. So this is literally like, I don't know, 30 miles from where I'm at right now.
I'll see you on the weekend, Adam. I'll be there.
And it's the best. It's the fucking best. I mean, it's literally like Neverland from Peter Pan. Like ever since I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, that's the trees on the rock that the Lost Boys live in. And it's just it's just like, look at, it's just amazing.
Will you can you put that photo you took up and that you sent to me earlier today about that sunset at some point? That's amazing. Like that, you lived that. Like I was like, is this real life? So cool.
Yeah, no, that's like, yeah.
You should post that in the community tab.
I just need to airdrop
post it on your community tab later. Like that's a beautiful photo. It's like it's amazing. I feel like that's the essence of your life, almost, that photo, that sunset.
Yeah, I got a few of them.
Girl, you need to share that with the world. People like, we live vicariously. That's what this YouTube thing's all about, isn't it? Being in communities and finding friendships that you wouldn't find IRL. And here we are, like these, a group of people who connect and have so many similarities, but we can't all be in a van. We can't all have the freedom. Like that's that moment that I had where I was like, this is a once in a lifetime for me. Maybe not, but I appreciate it and I will forever be grateful. Yeah, that. Wow.
Yeah, so this right here is the Rogue River. You guys see my cursor, my mouse? So the Rogue River is right here. And then this is where the river meets the ocean. And so this is out over the ocean, and this is like a kind of like almost like a normal sunset. And it's just like, why wouldn't I just, stay here as much as I can? And what's nice is like in the wintertime here, like it's like it rains a lot. And that's like the only thing that kind of keeps me, I still come here in the winter though. I still love it because inland is like, will be freezing. Will be like, 10, 15 degrees Fahrenheit for us, which is fucking cold. Over
Yep.
here, I mean, over here, it's usually going to be like 50 degrees, might be the normal cold. It might be like wet and rainy, but it's still better than fucking ice and fucking my, shivery ass. So I would just suffer through the rain. I've done it so many times.
Adam,
But yeah.
did you grew up in Oregon though? Is that your home state?
Yeah, it is. So my work, all of our clients are based in the Rogue Valley where I grew up.
Makes
And
sense. Rogue, you rogue.
so yeah, so I tend to stay somewhat close, and um I I my mom's, my mom's got some stuff. My mom's sick, and she's kind of in that, she's like in an unknown time. It could be tomorrow, it could be a couple years away.
Yeah.
So right now, I don't have like the funds to like travel far and wide. Two, um work, if I had the money, I'd be gone because work's been so slow. um but work, I tend to kind of like not go when I can. Like I'll stay away from like the Rogue Valley as long as I can. Like I haven't been back. I think I came over here for a couple of weeks. I went back for a few days, came back, and on the way back is when my air conditioner coolant snapped and the van started to overheat. So I had to go back. So I had to luckily I was able to fix it in the parking lot of where I was at. Did a little bit of like, amateur surgery. But it's been fine ever since. And that was shit. I probably have been over here almost a month now. Um, but it's just been great. The weather's been super good. So I haven't, and I haven't needed to go back to the valley. I'll need to go back to the valley maybe next week. We're starting production on a new project, and I might have to go do some on-set work, and then I'll have to definitely go back to like swap out some hard drives and stuff.
So, have you lived in your van through winters? Do you drive to more temperate climates through like the dead of
I
winter?
I I haven't gone to, I was planning on going to Arizona this last January and February, but I had a gig that I was kind of like the lead on. So I ended up connecting with the client the best out of my partner and I. And so I actually kind of took on the directing, the like, what's the story we're going to tell. Um, I even did like a lot of like the directing of photography, so it's like I'm the one that's lighting up everything, and like it's my, I really kind of took that whole project from open to close. So that took, I started that maybe December of last year, and we didn't finish like production until like middle of February, and I had a delivery of like beginning of like maybe the second week of March. So I was like, I would finish, and like, so for that project, I booked a hotel room for like a week.
Mm.
Just because every day, like I wasn't like the dude, he's an artist and he does like really big mural art. I've showed his stuff on here before. It's really good. Um and so I would go to his studio like in the afternoon, and I was just following him as he didn't start any painting until sometimes like 5 o'clock. And so I was just there either by myself, or I had a guy with another camera with me, and we were just following him around, and I had him mic'd up, and I was just asking him questions um, while he was just doing his normal stuff. And then I sat him down. We sat him down a couple times for some interviews, and and I just kind of did it. It was like it was the first project that my, you know, I'm the behind the scenes guy in the partnership, so I don't usually meet with clients unless it's time to like really like blow their minds with like big ideas. So I feel like in that situation, like my role is to like show the client what is actually possible if they wanted to go for it, and then we from there we can scale back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of like our biggest client is like a big hospital company, and they have 3 really big hospitals in the valley that I'm from. And so for them, everything is pretty, I just want to say, they settle for mediocre.
Mm.
And
Mediocre.
it's, and it, like, what happens is, like, we always go in, like, we sell them on this, like, really good idea. Like, we put a lot of time into creative thinking for these guys, and they always end up, like, diluting it down so hard. And by the time we're done with it, we're like, we just want to get it done. Like, all the cool, like, stuff that we had originally planned to do just got killed, you know?
That do they do that? But is it budgetary that they make those changes, or are they just?
No, oh no. They just have a lack of vision.
Oh God, tedious.
And they just play everything safe. They don't really like to take risks. They just got some new blood in the marketing department. So hopefully, and it's someone we worked with for the hospital company also owns like a foundation, and she was the marketing person for the foundation, and she became the marketing director for the actual corporation now. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can like push the envelope a little bit.
Yeah, push it real good.
Bump ba bump 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 ba 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 bump ba bump bump bump. Right? Is that the one?
You, baby pop. Yeah, you. Come here, give me a kiss. Better make it fast, or else I'm gonna get pissed. Can you hear the music pumping hard like I wish it would? Now push it.
Oh shit! Oh.
Yep. Yes, I did.
Yeah, you went
Yes,
there, and I think we're all here for it. We are all here for it.
Anyway, that's my story. Thanks for coming.
I love
to my
it.
table. Sorry
Thank you for
hijacking
calling
it.
in.
My pleasure.
No, hey, I am a facilitator. I facilitate conversations. It's like some might say it's my superpower. So we are all good. We navigated the waters of conversation with ease, with interest, with excitement, and I loved it. I love talking to you. You're great. I love your channel. I love what you're doing.
Right,
And I think the syndicate is kind of riding strong, yo.
I mean, fuck around and find out.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
All right.
Peace. I'll be
Good
back
to
in the
chat
chat now.
Yeah. Bye.